She was once a broken child, turned into a weapon. But her story didn't end there. From the Angel of Slaughter to Renne Bright, her journey is one of the most powerful in all of Zemuria. Welcome back to Chronicles of Zemuria. I'm your storyteller, Pendragon Valimore. Today we step away from Ouroboros. We explore the life of one of Trail's most unforgettable character, Renne. Once a child experiment, she was twisted into an enforcer for the society. Later, she found family with the Bright and began a new life. Few characters embody both such darkness and hope. But how did a child of tragedy become a symbol of redemption? Fair warning, this deep dive contains major spoiler depending on where you are in the series. If you dare to relive her story, uncover every piece of her past, or just curious about game lore, be in the right place. Let's begin. In S-1191, in Crossbell, Errol and Sophia Hayward had a beautiful baby girl called Renne. Errol was an honest merchant, but with Crossbell exploding market, he fell into crushing debt. To protect their daughter from predator and the mafia, the couple entrusted Renne to a friend in Calvard, promising to return once their debts were clear. But tragedy struck. While the parents were away, the house burned down, and Renne was kidnapped. By the time Errol repaid everything and came back, they found only ruins. The authorities declared no survivor. Believing their daughter dead, they nearly committed suicide. But when Sophia learned she was pregnant, it gave them a reason to live. They never knew she was in truth still alive, and the nightmare she was actually being dragged into. Her kidnapper were the GG cult, a fanatical group that rejected Helios and worshipped demons. Their various lodges pursued different projects. Some created the drug Genesis, others sought a human vessel for their god. Renne was taken to Paradise, a lodge on Nemeth Island in Calvard. Paradise presented itself as a peaceful village with a church. In truth, it is a brothel, sacrificial chamber, and labs for human experiment. The cult gave abducted children Genesis, breaking their mind to create playable vessel. Renne, one of their success, living in a dreamlike haze, thinking she was simply playing with dolls, an imaginary friend, Ross, Eda, Ajay, and Quattro. These were copying mechanisms real by the drug, which also enhanced her intellect. As her friends vanished one by one, cracks appeared in her illusion. To endure, she clung to Genesis and even self-harm. Her innocence was gone, but her suffering will not last forever. The kidnapping eventually drew too much attention. Cassius Bright led a coalition of police, army bracers guild, and church forces to investigate. At the same time, Ouroboros struck Paradise with Enforcer Leonhard and Joshua. They slaughtered the cultists and found one survivor, Renne, collapsed, her body scared by a self-inflicted wound. Taken in by the society, She became Enforcer number 15, the Angel of Slaughter. Gifted and broken, she was chosen as a candidate for Novantis' Gorgeous Class Archaeus project, perfectly synchronizing with her colossal puppet, Pater Matter. During a mission in Crossbell, Renne unexpectedly crossed paths with her real parents. She watched them in the shadow, heard them mentioning their late daughter, misunderstanding Harold's word about leaving the past behind. She nearly killed them in rage. Leonard stopped her, telling her the choice was hers. She spared them but carried the wound of abandonment. Renne grew close to Leonard and Joshua, but when Joshua left the society, wise men manipulated her into believing Estelle Bright was to blame, planting the seed of their fateful meeting. During the gospel plan in Liberl, Renne first approached Estelle in disguise, pretending to be a normal child with puppet parents. Later, she revealed her true self, her bond with Pater Matter, and a desire to kill Estelle for stealing Joshua. Yet, despite her cruelty, she found herself enjoying Estelle, and even tried to convince her to join Ouroboros when they captured her. To her disdain, Estelle refused to join their rank and escaped. On the Liberl arc, Renne faced Estelle again. When Pater Matter malfunctioned, she broke down. Estelle responds, a slap followed by a hug, confused and disarmed. For the first time, Renne was shown unconditional compassion. She fled, shaken, needed time to think. Renne left Ouroboros, wandering aimlessly until she met Van Ackroyd in Calvard. With help from Georg Rosenberg, her grandfather figure, and Pater Matter creator, Van protected her for Novantis, who sued and offered her kindness. Estelle word, listen to your art, began to take root. Eventually, Renne returned to Crossbell, but was drawn into the strange world of Phantasma. Trapped in a cube artifact, she dreamed of Estelle until she woke up, and Estelle herself appeared. Reunited, Renne, seeing she could not get out of this place alone, she joined Estelle's group in their fight, setting her on the path of redemption. The more time she spent with them, the more she enjoyed their company. Despite all she had done, they treated her with kindness. When Phantasma began to collapse, she was confused, watching everyone say their goodbye. Estelle and Joshua tried to explain this strange warmth, but Renne didn't understand. When they offered her a place in their family, she resisted, saying she hated them, yet admitting she loved them too. Before Phantasma vanished, Estelle and Joshua promised they would find her again no matter what. Back in reality, Renne returned home to Crossbell and visited Georg Rosenberg to repair Pater Matter. She began hacking into the Orbal network under the alias Kitty, sparring with rival hacker and gathering information for fun. During an exploit, she crossed paths with the Special Support Section. Intrigued, she watched them from the shadow, and even met Arios McLean. Knowing who she was, Arios simply told her she could keep running from the Bride, but promised not to reveal her presence. Some months later, Renne encountered the SSS again. when they were searching Colin Airwards, her younger brother. She saved him from monster, but broke down crying alongside him, burdened by guilt. When her parent thanks the SSS, Renne hid, overhearing their story. For the first time, she realized that they had never abandoned her. They thought she had died. Still, she couldn't face them. Instead, she thanks the SSS by giving them an invitation to the Black Auction, helping them pursue the case. Later, when the SSS uncovered Joachim's ties to the GG cult, they discovered Renne's name in a victim list. She revealed herself, admitting her past and enforcer number 15, but clarifying she wasn't behind the current event. She warned them Joachim was a mastermind behind Genosis, and challenged Estelle and Joshua through the SSS to capture her if they could. When Joachim transformed into a demon, Renne intervened with Pater Matter, shielding the SSS and the Bright from certain death. After Joachim's defeat, Estelle and Joshua again asked her to join their family. Renne resisted, until Pater Matter gently set her down in front of them. Overwhelmed, she finally accepted, breaking into tears as Estelle embraced her. From then on, she spent time with the Bright, occasionally helping with bracer work and supporting the Orbal Network project. Later, she fought alongside Estelle and Joshua against an Ion Type B. The battle cost her dearly Pater Matter, sacrificing itself to protect her. Devastated, Renne wept for the loss of her companion, but Estelle and Joshua comforted her. At last, Renne took her first true step toward a new life, enrolling at Genis Royal Academy. At Genis, Renne grew closer to Tita, becoming her first best friend, and even vouching for her enrollment at Tor Branch Campus in Erebonia. Thanks to Renne, Tita joined Class 7, but soon found herself caught in Ouroboros' scheme and the spread of the Great Twilight curse. When Tita and Class 7 were captured, Renne infiltrated Orcus Tower, alongside Estelle and Joshua to uncover the truth. At some point, she encountered Anguis Vita Clotilde, who opposed the curse, and even joined force with her and Blobla to help Class 7. Renne eventually fought alongside them, enriching Green Schwarzer, a figure who reminded her of Louve. As the Great Twilight deepened, she reunited with her adoptive family to search for the missing Tita and Sherazard. Though Class 7 and Agate found Tita first, Renne later rejoined her aboard the Pantagruel. Before the Great War began, Renne finally faced her birth family. Sophia faintly recognized her, while Harold still believed she was lost. Renne told him to live for his wife and son, leaving quietly with the Bright to face Amel and the battle ahead. When war finally erupted, a massive fortress appeared in the sky of Erebonia, alongside towering salt pale. Each mega plan to engulf all of Zemuria and the Great Twilight had begun. As Class 7 infiltrated the fortress, Renne joined Estelle, Joshua, Agate, and Tita to strike one of the salt pale. In the final battle against Ishmelga itself, Renne stood alongside Zemuria heroes. With the curse shattered, peace returned at last. She later attended Prince Olivert and Sherazard's wedding, celebrating with her friends. Before returning to Liberl, Renne spent a short vacation in Ymir with Cassius, Estelle, and Joshua, even helping Cassius repel our farcical attack by Gilbert. Not long after, Erika Russell found the West Zemurian Tech Union on behalf of the ZCF, an alliance to strengthen technology against Ouroboros' 13 factories. Thanks to her intellect and connection to George Rosenberg, Renne contributed dissertation and became part of the project. 6 months later, a new crisis emerged. An AI called Elysium awakened through the Orbal network in Zemuria's Septon vein. In order to manage her database, she created a pseudo-personality as its administrator and adopted the name Lapis. Originally designed to support humanity, it was corrupted by Ishmelga, a manifestation of one of her potential future calculation. Now in total control of the artificial intelligence, he aimed to destroy the world by creating simulacra of Rufus Albarea and Arius McLean to take control of Crossbell, while manipulating Ilya Platier into the Duscan Dancer to brainwash the populace. Renne happened to beat Crossbell with Estelle and Joshua when the city fell. Going underground, she investigated until crossing paths with the real Rufus, traveling with 3 children, including a doll-like girl with no memories, Lapis. When Rufus and the children nearly succumbed to the Duscan Dancer, Renne intervened, freeing them. After learning the truth, she joined Rufus in his effort to restore Lapis' memory and stop the simulacra. Their first stop was the Rosenberg studio, long abandoned until they discovered Novantus had taken it over. He set mechanical copy of Renne's parents on her, but she saw through the deception and destroyed them, warning him never to touch the real Airward. Thought Novantus tried to lure her back in Ouroboros, Renne refused him outright. The investigation next led to them in Crossbell prison, now overrun with monsters. Joined by Arius McLean, they uncovered the truth from Ian Grimwood, who revealed what he knew about Lapis' origin. Soon after, Renne refused the SSS Bracer in Class 7 mounted a joint assault on Crossbell, reclaiming the city and storming Elysium Retributive Tower. After each mega corruption was purged and Elysium deleted, Lapis was finally freed. With this crisis over, Renne returned once more to Liberl with her family. At 17, Renne enrolled at Calvard prestigious Aramis Academy. Officially, she was just another transfer student, but in truth, she was gathering intelligence for the ZCF on Vern and the Republic growing technological power. Her brilliance quickly made her popular, but also drew hostility. Ronald Griffith, a rival student aiming for council president, tried to intimidate her. Renne, unimpressed, exposed his corruption with the help of Dingo Brad, a reporter, leading Ronald to retaliate, firing thugs. Renne effortlessly crushed them and revealed his father fraud, forcing Ronald to drop out. With no other candidate, Renne reluctantly became student council president. She worked alongside fellow council member Albert Audet and Agnes Claudel. When Agnes confided She was searching for her grandfather Epstein, lost Oak Genesis. Renne encouraged her to use the Kitty engine, and even suggested hiring the Spriggan, Van Arkwright. Concerned for her friend, Renne watched her from afar, and eventually reunited with Van, recalling how he once sheltered her from Nerventus years earlier. Though she kept their past close to her chest, their bond was rekindled. Not long after, Ronald resurfaced, this time backed by the Dollar Mafia. Their plan was to kidnap Aramis students and ransom them, hoping to destroy Renne's reputation. But Renne discovered the scheme, and with Van's help dismantled it in second. Recognizing an overwhelming train, the Dollar family fled, cementing Renne's authority at Aramis. Later that same year, Renne proposed to at Aramis Academy conduct an observational study in Basel. Officially, this was a school project, but our real goal was to use the trip to make contact with Calvardian scientists and engineers on behalf of the ZCF. While guiding the students, she introduced them to major figures, like the scientist Jan Cronkite. Not many remained suspicious of her mysterious background. During our investigation, Renne uncovered signs of another looming crisis, one disturbingly similar to Elysium. Meanwhile, Van Arkwright's team, including Agnes, was also in Basel searching for one of the lost Octogenesis. When a professor was kidnapped and later found dead, Renne was drawn into the chaos. The city came under attack by Archias, controlled by the Almada Mafia, which sought to claim a nuclear weapon. Renne defended the student, finally revealing her true power in signature side. Thanks to Arkwright's solution, the immediate threat was repelled, but Almada escaped with their prize. Using her position as ZCF consultant and proxy negotiator for the Epstein Foundation, Renne confronted the Verne Company president, who was prioritizing profit over public safety. She then aided Van's team in tracking Almada, eventually clashing with Melchior and Olympia, assassin of the mysterious group known as the Garden. Van and Agnes recovered the Genesis, but Almada still escaped with the nuclear device. Soon after, Renne met Professor Latoya Hamilton, one of Epstein's disciples, then expressed interest in connecting her with the Zemuria Tech Union. But tragedy soon struck. Almada used their weapon to annihilate a peaceful village. The authority branded them the nation's top threat, and the base was soon revealed to be in Calvard, old capital or Russian. Every major forces in the region converged. The Bracer Guilds, Jaeger Corps, the Intelligence Division, Arkwright Solution, even Ouroboros. Renne, working with the Bracer, became a key coordinator, linking Van with the other faction. But Almada base turned out to be a trap. Using one of the Genesis, they imposed deadly rules on the city. Anyone who would disobey would trigger another nuclear strike. During this tense conflict, Renne reunited with Ouroboros members, Walter, Lucrezia, and Arwood. She warned Van about Elroy's ruthlessness, while Arwood expressed bitterness that Renne no longer admires method. Later, she assisted Elaine Auclair in uncovering Almada's financial backer, which shockingly included Elaine's own father. Thought he had known about the nuclear strike, he was arrested by Elaine herself. Finally, Almada was destroyed by Van Party, with only Meteor surviving its retreat. Soon after, the Revolution Festival began. As Student Council President, Renne organized Aramis Academy festivities and attended the victory party. But during the festival itself, disaster struck. Melchior returned. He used the 7th Genesis to summon pandemonium, freezing time across the city. Only those linked to Van could still move, including Renne. Demonic Sphere appeared, dragging her into a vision of her dramatic past with the GG cult. Van, aided by Ether, Walter, Zin, rescued. Together, they rebooted the Orbal network and lifted the barrier. Although she was locked out of the final battle, Renne believed in Van's team, and she was right. Almada was destroyed once and for all. After this event, Renne briefly returned to Liberl, though she kept in contact with Agnes. During her absence, Ronald Griffith launched yet another revenge plot, a bombing at the academy. Though many students were killed, Agnes used the Genesis to rewind time, preventing the tragedy. When Renne returned early, she joined Agnes and her friends in investigating ancient ruins beneath the school. There they discovered Altera, a corrupted EI, what turned out to be Lapis. Throughout the 8th Genesis, though they temporarily sealed her, she was freed by the Garden Master. A week later, Renne received an invitation to Nemeth Island, the original location of Paradise. Van's party, the Bracer, and even Ouroboros also attended. While others relaxed, Renne kept working, thought Agnes forced her to join in some leisure. The next day, Arwood revealed himself as the one who sent the invitation, orchestrating a deadly tour of the island. Searching with Lucrezia and Walter, Renne suddenly lost control to another personality, Ross, a remnant of a childhood friend, which she absorbed his personality. She slaughtered Van Group in a vision, until time was rewound, sparing them. In the Catacomb of Paradise, the group discovered a dimensional breach, a gateway to the underworld, meant to unleash demon upon Zemuria. With the aid of the 4th personality of her lost Renne, Renne helped close the gate. Arwood admitted that part of his goal had been to forge Renne to confront her trauma. Thought he had also been working with the Garden Master. The Garden Master then appeared, stealing nearly all of the collected Genesis and escaping. Renne mourned her friends one last time, offering prayer as the lingering spirit helped her seal the breach. Determined, she pledged her aid to Van's team in stopping the Garden Master's final plan. When he unleashed mass corrosion across Edith, Renne fought alongside her allies, ultimately helping defeat him and end the Genesis crisis. With peace restored, Aramis Academy held its festival. Van invited Renne on a date, though he made clear he will never cross the line with a high schooler. Instead, he revealed the real reason, to give her a gift. Thanks to her friend, family, and even ally in Ouroboros, they had restored the AI of Pattern Matter into a new hollow core. For the first time in years, Renne was reunited with her beloved companion. Tears in her eyes, she finally felt whole. And so, Renne's story ends here. but not forever. With trail beyond the horizon looming, our journey is far from finished. Few characters in the series have appeared across so many arcs, from Liberl to Erebonia to Crossbell and Calvard. She lived through trauma, redemption, and growth, transforming from the Angel of Slaughter into one of Zemuria's brightest mind and strongest will. So, what do you think of Renne's story? Do you have a favorite part of her journey? Let me know in the comment below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe for more lore, theories, review, and live stream. I'm live almost every night at 7 PM EST if you'd like to hang out and chat. Thank you for watching, and may Adios be with you. Bandwagons offline.